I'm Pete Daniel and I live in the Tamar Valley on the border of Devon and Cornwall. Last time you saw me, I showed you some of the wildlife I love to watch. Now join me again as I go back to the valley and show you more of the wildlife as well as other everyday projects we carry out as a family together up at our garden. Join me this week as I go down to the valley to the Mash where I get Project Frog Cam underway. I get back to our garden shed to set up 2 more ideas for projects that I have this year that I want to show you. I get to the garden to prepare my bird boxes ready for the nesting season before I head back down to the valley to the first hide I set up, and on the way I get to see a fantastic sight. Well, I'm straight down to the valley this morning to get to the Mash because I want to get another trail camera project underway. Right, okay, well I'm back down the valley today and I've come back to the Mash. Of course, I've been here before. A couple of years ago, I came down to the Mash and I set up trail cameras. And I set the trail cameras up because I wanted to try and get a shot of the frogs coming here and spawning. And I was happy with the shots I got, but it was very, very difficult to set the cameras up. Of course, I was using the old branches and everything that's lying down around here and the fence posts and whatnot to try and set my cameras up to the right height, which was very difficult. So what I've done this year, I've made some stakes that, you see, I had some wood left over from a job I was doing back in the garage there. So I've cut some stakes. I'm going to try and drive them into the ground, and then I can set the cameras up to the height I want. Because of course, as you can see, look, we've got so much water down here. We've had so much rain. Last night was horrendous. We had gale force winds come through and torrential rain all night long. The river busted its banks this morning. That was quite high. Thankfully, it's gone down again now because we haven't had much rain today. But I'm hoping down in the Mash here, it's not going to get much deeper. But you never know because we've got rain forecast for the next couple of weeks. But I'm going to try and get in there now and set my cameras up. Okay? So hopefully, fingers crossed, I won't get a wet foot. Wish me luck. I'm going to try it with my wellies first. Well, ain't too bad. I think I might be alright, you know. Right, okay, location number 1, down the far end of the Mash. Now, 2 years ago, I set cameras up down here, down this end of the Mash. And of course, when I come back to check the cameras, the frogs have been here and spawned, but back up that end. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to set a couple cameras up down this end and a couple cameras up down that end. And hopefully, fingers crossed, that'll get me the results. The ground's quite hard, but the stake's gone in, and that's really good and firm there, so I'm happy with that. Right, I'm going to get the rest of them in because the rain's coming, and I don't want to get too wet. Right, okay, well that's all the cameras set up. I've got 5 cameras set up down the Mash. I've set them up down at low level on the stakes that I made. So hopefully, anything comes along, the frogs will set the cameras off, and fingers crossed we'll get some shots of those frogs spawning, and that'll be really, really good. Right, it's just about to start raining. We had a heavy shower just now. I'm going to get home out of it before I get too wet. Well, that's that job done, and I can leave those cameras there until I see some signs of the frogs spawning. And I didn't even need my old waders, which is a good job really, as I reckon they may have sprung a leak. Right, it's back to the shed at home. Right, okay, well, we're still waiting for this rain to stop. Of Cool, we've had some rain, and we weeks and weeks now, everywhere's saturated. It's very frustrating. I can't get out with the camera, I can't get up to the garden and do any work either. Very, very frustrating. But one thing I can do is I've come up to the shed in our back garden and I've set up a couple of projects. First one is pond tank. Now, I do this every year. If you're having a look in the tank, you can see what I've done. I've got under gravel filter in there, so that's in there to keep the water clean and purify it, okay? You see the gravel I've got in there, different types of gravel, different sizes. I put a few rocks in, and I got some weed from the pond, okay? Because of course, I'm going to go up to the garden and sort the pond out. That's one of my first jobs when it stops raining. Get up, sort the pond out and the wildlife area. And then what you can see then that I've topped that pond tank with rainwater, and I've collected that rainwater up at the garden in my water butts, okay? Of course, we've had plenty of rain, so they can fill right up, all right? So I managed to get that. I wouldn't use tap water. I want it to be 100% natural. So I've got the rainwater in there and filled that up. Now, pond tank is set up. Of course, I went down a few weeks ago now and set up my trail cameras down at the mash because I want to try and get the frogs spawning. It was early January when I set them up, okay? We're coming up middle end of January now. I'm hoping when I can get down there when the rain stops and check the cameras, there'll be some frog spawn down there. Now, I've set pond tank up for that reason, because every year, I've done this since I was a boy and I love doing it. I bring frog spawn back and I'll put it into the pond tank, and then I can show you the process right the way from frog spawn, hatching out and turning into little froglets, and that'll be absolutely brilliant to do that. Okay, so that's pond tank. That's project number one in the shed setup. Now over here on the left hand side, now you mustn't tell the wife this, okay, but I've set up my incubator. I said I wasn't going to do this year because she wanted this shed gone. See, wanted it up the garden. She's got plans for up the top of the garden here. I said, no, I ain't doing any more eggs in the incubator, that's it. But do you know what? I thought, wouldn't it be nice to have a few more ducks, okay? And hatch them out from our own duck eggs. So my plan is, it's a little bit early now, but by March time, is get some duck eggs and put them in the incubator. Okay, and hatch them out and show you that process, and then show you the ducklings growing and then releasing them up to the garden with the other ducks we got. I think that'd be absolutely brilliant. But I might just try it out first with the food chicken eggs, but don't tell the wife. Shh. Right, that's those jobs done. I'm going in for a cup of tea. Now that pond tank is set up, all I have to do is wait. Wait for some spawn to show down at the mash, and that'll be fantastic. And the incubator, I shall just run that through to make sure it's all up to speed. But I do have to wait for this rain to pass, and every day is rain, rain and more rain, until eventually it stops, for a short time anyway, so I can get to the garden to do an important couple of jobs. There I go. Hi guys. Yeah, you let me egg now. Right, well that's all the chickens done and cleaned out. I even got an egg to take home so I can have for my breakfast tomorrow. That's fantastic news. Right, okay, well I'm at the garden today. At last the rain's passed. We've had that cold weather and now it's dry. So I can get up here and start doing things. The first thing I want to do is sort out my bird boxes. I've got two on the back of my garden shed, okay? Now, every year I've done this and I've plugged my laptop in and I've managed to watch the birds nesting. But last year I had a bit of a technical problem. The birds started to nest in this box, okay? I come up, I put the laptop on and it was absolutely brilliant. I seen a nest was starting to be built. It was fantastic. I come up a few days later, plugged it in, the nest was getting bigger, I was getting more excited, and then of course I went away and I come back the weekend, and when I went to plug the camera in to the laptop, I opened the shed door and I could see straight away the rats had been in and they had chewed the lead. Of course, the lead in the shed, where it plugs into the laptop, is where the rats have got it, but it runs in and it comes in to the box and it connects in here. Of course, I couldn't change that last year because the birds had started nesting and I wasn't going to disturb them. Nothing happened in this box, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to change the lead over and then I can plug it in the back of the camera. But the first thing I want to do is have a look in this box and see if we've got anything at all that went on. Right, yeah, there you are, look, you can see already, look, there's the bird nest in the bottom of the box. That's absolutely brilliant. That means we have birds coming here nesting. That's fantastic. They built the nest and they had some eggs and then hopefully the chicks all fledged. Well, that's fantastic news. And you can see the camera at the top, look, there you are, there's the camera, and he's looking right down into the middle of the box, and he also angled so he looks at the front of the box where the hole is, so we can see the birds coming in and out. So hopefully once I get this sorted out, we'll get some good shots if the birds come here and nest. I'm gonna have a look in that box in a minute, but I want to make sure I can get this camera working. Right, first thing I'm gonna do is get this old nest out. Oh, I can see the, yeah, there you are, brilliant. Get that out, throw it in the edge, and then just give the box a bit of a clean out. Get him clean for the next set of birds to come and find somewhere in the nest. Right, there you are, camera looks pretty clean, there's no cobwebs in there. Right, what I'm going to do, pop the front back on, and then go in the shed, and I'll sort that lead out, I'll get it all plugged in up there. Right, there you go. And then hopefully I'll be able to get the laptop on, and we'll be able to see inside the box. Right, okay, well, it's a moment of truth. I've set the laptop up, he's fired up, I just got to start up the program, and hopefully we'll see something in the bird box. I managed to change the lead over, and what I've done is when I've done it, I've pulled the leads of the camera so they're poking through the shed. So if we have the same problem, then I can just change the lead over in here without disturbing anything, and that'll be good news. Right, laptop's out, it's just starting the device. I've got the thing that's plugged in there, that's all plugged in, the leads are plugged in, they're connected there, should come up. Right, we've got a blank screen. Why have we got a blank screen? Oh, flickering. Oh, this ain't a good sign. Hang on a minute, everything's all right. Oh, might help if I turn the battery pack on for the camera. There we go. Bit of a schoolboy error. Right, that should start up now. Hopefully the camera will go. Still flickering. It's not looking. There you go. Right. Yeah, there you are. Look at that. There's a picture on the screen. That is inside the bird box, and that's fantastic. So the camera's up and running again, which is great news. That's absolutely brilliant. So hopefully now, fingers crossed, we'll get some birds come to the box and start nesting, and I'll be able to show you the birds building the nest, laying some eggs, the eggs hatching out, and hopefully the chicks growing and fledging from the box, and that'll be absolutely brilliant. That's good news. That's really, really good news. Please as punch with that, I am. Well, that's a relief. I'm so glad that I got my box cameras working. Seeing the nesting birds is one of my favourite things to do. But now the weather has changed again. We've had a very, very cold snap, but dry, so I'm off to my hide, and I get a surprise sighting on the way. Right, I gotta talk quiet. I'm just on my way down to the valley to my hide, and as I turned up the road, I looked up the river field, and you have a look at this. This is fantastic. What a shot. Look at that. That's beautiful. The fox right down below me. And then his mate's over there. Look at that. That's absolutely wonderful. And away he goes. Going down towards the river. Well, they are. How about that? That's absolutely brilliant. Right, I'm going to leave them to it, and I'm going to get down to my hide, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll get some results there as well. Right, okay, well I've just got to my hide, but before I get in the hide, there's something else I want to show you. I've just spotted across the other side of the field. So I'm going to get my mask on, cover myself up. Right, get my hat back on. Now I'm going to try and sneak across the field and show you this. It's brilliant. Right, okay, just up in front of me is something absolutely beautiful. Look at this up. That's wonderful. That's absolutely brilliant, that is. Look at that. Fast asleep in the sunlight. Beautiful. Right, well there you are, there's another fox. Now I'm going to try and get a little bit closer if I can. Oh, it's beautiful. A bit wobbly. I ain't got my tripod with me, have I? Left it at the hide. What a lovely shot. Oh, there he goes. He's off. Oh. Well, do you know, that was absolutely brilliant. I managed to get across the field and get a shot of that fox asleep. I tried to get a little bit closer, but I pushed my luck. He sat up, heard me, sat up, and then went away. But it was fantastic. Right, now it's time for me to get in the hide. I'm going to sit here for a couple of hours and just wait. Okay, so fingers crossed. Right, camera's all ready to go, switched on. Right, okay, well I'm in my hide. Now, that was fantastic seeing that fox across the other side of the field. Absolutely brilliant. Now, I've come up to the hide today because you may remember when I set it up, I said there's a certain bird of prey that I want to try and film. And that bird, I must tell you, is the buzzard. Now, I've set the hide up here because I've seen buzzards feeding on the grass there for worms, okay? Especially when it's been wet, we've had a bit of rain. The worms come up to the surface and the buzzards, they feed on them. Now, I came up the other day to check the hide because, of course, we had all that bad weather. I want to make sure it was all right. And there were 6 buzzards in the field feeding off the worms. Of course, I didn't have a camera because it was so wet when I come up to check the hide. But they were here. Now, I'm going to sit here. I've got a couple, 3 hours. I'm going to sit here and hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll see some of the buzzard. If I don't, I have got another plan to hopefully get that shot. But let's give it a couple of hours and see what happens. So fingers crossed. Got a squirrel up beside of me. He's just got up the tree. He's right in that olive bush. There he was. There he is. Well, I've been here for an hour or so now, and I haven't seen any sign of the buzzard. Any birds, to be honest, no rooks or crows or anything coming into the field, because they're normally here as well, feeding on the worms. But I haven't seen nothing yet. It's quite cold, and you can probably see the steam coming off when I'm talking. But also, look at my legs there. There you are, look. That's from lying on the grass earlier when I was filming the foxes down in the valley. Okay, I got wet through, and now the steam is all coming off my legs. It's like a sauna in the hide here. Right, at last, a sign of the buzzard. Now, you have a look at this, look. There you are, look. He's a long ways away. He looks like he's sat on top of that sheep's head, but he's up in the top corner of the field, and he's sat on the roof of the barn, okay? And he's just sat up there in the sunshine. Now, I'm just going to sit tight and wait and see what happens. Hopefully, the buzzard will come down this way and pitch up in the field. So fingers crossed. Right, okay, well I've had to give up the hide. I've run out of time. I've got to go pick up Daisy from school this afternoon, so I've got to get on. But I got the shot of the buzzard from a long, long way away. He didn't come any closer. He went off down across the other side of the valley. But I shan't give up on that. I've got another idea to try and show you the buzzard coming here and feeding. But I can't complain, can I? I've had a wonderful day. I've seen all those foxes, and that was absolutely brilliant. So I'm still going home a happy man. Well, that crafty buzzard never came down to the field at all. But you don't always get the shot you want the first time. But I'll be back. But seeing those foxes, well, that was absolutely brilliant. Join me next week as I go back down to the valley and I get to stalk one of my favourite animals to see. I get back down to the mash to see if anything has happened with the frogs, and I pick in my trail cameras. I then get pond tank underways before I check the results on the trail cameras, and I get a surprise result on 1 or 2 of them.